So my name is Kyle Carline. I am your host for today's virtual Miro user group, and I'm really excited for this one, especially because I am the apps brand manager at Salem Web Network. So I work with apps, and when I hear the word gamify, my ears perk, and I have to hear whatever is about to happen. So I did get, of course, a little sneak peek at Greg's presentation, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not sure if I quite understand everything that I saw, so I'm gonna need a lot of good explanations. So it's gonna be pretty interesting to see what we have going on, and I'm sure you all are really excited about that as well. I'm coming to you from Richmond, Virginia, where it smells like fall, but it feels like winter. I don't feel well. I'm wearing a jacket indoors. I've got the cold chills going on, but we power through, and we're gonna have a really good event tonight. So if you haven't already, definitely drop a game icon into the icebreaker. I'm gonna give a shout out. I mean, do we have this person from Brazil on with the race car driver? I would love to hear more from that person. And this is what's really cool about that. So if you drop a comment by your image, we can all go over to the comments tab, of course, and show the resolved ones and reach out to one another. Let's build a rapport, find each other on LinkedIn. I know that was a big deal in the second VMUG that we had going on. So a lot of really cool connections were made. And that is sort of the power behind Miro, is putting all these connections wherever we are, right? So we've got people in Canada and of course in California. So welcome everybody. And Brittany, maybe the only one in Texas, but that's cool. So just welcome everyone. We're gonna have a really good event. And you saw the pro tips for today's event. You know, a few of us are a little more experienced with Miro. Some of us are brand new, or maybe we just don't even know the hotkeys for the computers that we use. So those are always really helpful. And in fact, one was shared in the chat, so you can go check that out as well. Our presenters today, of course, are Greg Kozera. I'm never gonna get it right. And we also have Matt Mulholland, if I got that one right. He's from Miro, and he's going to start right now. He's going to give us some nitty-gritty insider info, stuff that you probably can't get anywhere else, right? It's happening live right here, right now. So Matt, I'm going to kick it off to you, and you can get started.
I feel like I want to do like one of those newscaster things, like, thanks, Kyle. Like, it's great to be, like, I don't know.
Do it. That was it? Was that it? That was okay.
That was okay. Anyway, great to be here. My name's Matt. I'm the customer education manager at Miro. So a lot of what Greg is going to be talking about, which is going to be a lot more, I know it's super interesting coming after what I'm talking about, but is coming from his instructional design background. So it kind of made sense for me to talk a little bit about customer education and what are we doing at Miro, what are we looking forward to and how we're approaching it. Customer education when it comes to SaaS is sort of a new-ish thing. So I thought it might be interesting for everyone to kind of hear how we're approaching it in general. Then we'll talk about why does it matter to you, what's available now, and lastly, we'll end with what's coming up, a little sneak peek. So that's kind of our trajectory here. Go ahead and move your guys' faces. Okay. So inside the board below each slide, there's a space for you guys to add some sticky notes with questions, but it's a pretty small group, so I'm sure it won't be a problem if we just have people talk. But in any case, here it goes. So customer education at Miro, what are we talking about? So To add some clarity, the mission of customer education at Miro, we're on a mission to enable users at scale to accomplish their goals and to do their jobs using Miro. And of course, we have our own objectives. Of course, we want to lead to higher retention rates and high expansion rates. And the reason why I'm showing this now is just because I think it's interesting for people to know how are we approaching customer education in general, because I'm sure there's a lot of people here who are working at SaaS companies. And how are we going to accomplish this? Our vision is to create a comprehensive ecosystem of on-demand and one-to-many resources to educate users on how to use Miro regardless of their learning style, technical aptitude, or use case. And so there's a lot of things we have to take into account, and we're obviously still a lot to learn on our side and how to take into account learning style, technical aptitude, like where they are in the tool, how do they adopt technology in general, and what are they trying to do with Miro? Because as you guys can imagine, there's so many different things that people do with Miro. Even what we're doing here with people adding little icons to show like where they are in the world is, you know, is cool and different. So why should you care about what we're doing? There's a few things. The content that we're producing right now and that we're looking to produce in the future, we hope that it's going to allow you to learn new use cases and features of Miro. Miro's already pretty robust, and it's already going to get, it's only going to get more so. There's features and little tips and tricks that people inside the company don't know, and even I'm learning things all the time. Like there's a lot to learn in the tool, and different ways that we can use it. And one of the biggest challenges that people have is like, okay, I understand how to add sticky notes, but how do I use Miro to solve a specific problem? Like show me how are other companies using Miro to solve this kind of case. And that's one of the things that we're really hoping to address through the resources that we're building. Another way you can use the resources we're producing is as a prerequisite for some of the workshops and things that you will be facilitating, hopefully using some of Greg's methodologies that you'll learn in just a second. If you're having people join who are new to Miro, having them take a quick course in the Miro Academy, which we'll be talking about, can be a great prerequisite. And lastly, to advocate for Miro, I know there's probably a lot of champions here who want to know how can they best talk about Miro internally in their companies. And if you're dealing with somebody who's a software person who likes to get into the details, perhaps sending them to the Miro Academy or to one of the other resources that we have, like the webinar that we're hoping to release, can be a great way for you to get visibility to what exactly Miro can do for a certain company or use case. So more granularly, what are some of the things that we're looking to do? First off is Miro Academy. These are going to be course style e-learnings on-demand courses that are going to try and answer the question, how do I solve this particular problem using Miro? And going beyond like, how does a feature work, but really saying like, how are companies other than myself applying this to solve a problem? And we're doing this by going to our customers and asking them for very granular details about how do you do this thing? Like for user experience design, how do you organize your board? Do you split that into 2 boards? Do you keep it in 1? Do you use frames? Try to get very granular in how people are accomplishing their goals using Miro, and then sharing them through the courses. The second one, which is going to be newer and we're looking to implement, is a more rigorous webinar schedule regarding user training. So you're going to be able to watch trainings and understand different aspects of the tool. This is something that we're going to be looking at. And if you're an enterprise customer, we're hoping to have a more robust instructor-led training program. We're of course working on in-app and just-in-time education. So these are things that are happening inside the application. We're looking at the little education hat, which is in the top right corner of your application, to try to improve the content that's there and make it more robust, make it more digestible, things like that. And then there's other content that we're looking to produce. So there's a lot on our plate for the customer education team, and there's a lot we're excited to bring to you guys and to help it easier to consume, to use Miro for more and many things. If you're interested in customer education, one of the questions that kind of pops up is how does it fit into the larger ecosystem of content at a company? And this is the way that we're approaching it at Miro. With the top of the funnel, these are people who are just trying to check maybe Miro out or maybe a virtual whiteboard tool in general out. And for that, you have things like blogs and guides, our template library, things like that. So top of the funnel content. In the middle of the funnel, this is going to be things like feature tutorials, like how does this feature work? And the getting started with Miro course, which is already available. But at the bottom of the funnel, which is the thing that I'm most excited about, is showing people how to solve problems with Miro, how to really apply it to specific use cases, depending on your role at your company, depending on what kind of company you are, and things like that. And that's the biggest area of growth that we see for customer education content. So what's available today? We have the first version of the Miro Academy. It's available. You can go to it right now. It's at miro.com/academy. There are 3 courses available. They are short video tutorials, basically. So there's a lot of growth that we have to do, but right now, it's just one way that you can consume that content. There's a Getting Started with Miro course that we're going to be redoing actually next quarter. There's an Agile development in Miro. So if you are a Scrum Master, product owner, or Agile coach, how can you use Miro to solve that kind of problem? This is a first try at one of our solution courses. So I would recommend that you guys check that out. And lastly, for our enterprise customers, we have the Company Admin Handbook. And this is actually a board with diagrams and videos and links out to many different resources to help you answer questions like how should I best deploy my enterprise account? How should I set up teams? How should projects work within my teams? And we have suggestions, pros and cons to different setups, and it's a really robust resource if you're interested in the enterprise plan or you already have it and you're an admin. And again, that's miro.com/academy. Here's the actual page. You can go there. There's links out to the courses. If we click on the Agile Development course, you can be taken to that. And we built this, just a little peek behind the curtain, we built it using HubSpot landing pages, just linking them together. So it's a really hacky way to just get the first version of Miro Academy out there. And you can click on the next lessons there, and there's links outside to get more context, okay? But the most exciting thing that I have to share with you is what we're working on. So right now, this course, just like the Agile Development course, which if you're interested, please go check it out. We're producing the same kind of thing for UX design. It's a big use case in Miro. People have a lot of questions. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about it. So we're taking a survey and getting into the nitty-gritty with our existing customers to try to figure out, okay, how are they doing this? How are our successful companies solving the problems that UX designers face with Miro? How does it integrate with your other tools? Things like that. The second one is we're looking to take it off of our current setup and implement it into an actual learning management system. So we have a vendor selected. We're going through a trial right now. Hopefully next quarter, we're going to be able to offer you guys much more robust content types, the ability to track and resume your progress, and lots of other exciting features as well. And lastly, another awesome thing that we're looking to implement this quarter and going into next is really starting to build out a recurring webinar series concerning training in Miro. So you can get details on how interesting features work and ask questions and Q&A sessions and things like that. So even if you're not on an enterprise plan, you're still going to be able to get access to CSM style trainings and ask questions to a live person. So I hope that's exciting to you. We're really excited about the possibilities and all of the different styles and the things that we're trying to accomplish. If you want to get involved, if these things are interesting to you, we're looking to understand what do you want out of this kinds of content. So please, if the first way you want to get involved is to go to Miro Academy, take a course. There are surveys linked throughout the Academy, and you can take those after you've completed a course and tell us what you think. Leave your email if you're interested in me reaching back out to you. Here's a link directly to the survey if you want to go and take a look at that. I've also put in a board, some sticky notes for you guys to add requests for types of content through your idea. And lastly, connect with me on LinkedIn. Ping me. Let me know what you guys think and what kind of content you'd like to see. I would absolutely love to hear from you guys and to know how can we make Miro Academy and the other kinds of resources as valuable to you as possible. All right. Woo! Woo! Try to keep it brief for you, Greg, because you have all the time in the world to blow
Matt, you're
these guys
wonderful.
away.
That was great. Thank you so much. This is really exciting. I like to see some of the stuff that you guys are building.
Thanks.
Very, very cool.
Do you have any questions for Matt? I'm seeing.
Yep, Kyle Chipman's got one. We can start with that one.
Did I pass you back the screen share, Kyle? I forget what your instructions were.
You can keep sharing just in case we need to use the slides. But I will go ahead and read it aloud. A few of us are already hovering over there. So Kyle asks, have you found anyone creating a knowledge base or documentation hub inside Miro? Platform agnostic, not Miro specific, etc.
Okay, so you mean like the use case of using Miro to host many different types of documents? Yes. So we have a use case that we internally call the project hub. So you have things like the upload tool and things like that that can store many different types of resources. So we have seen, especially in things like UX design, where they're taking, or just design in general, where they're taking inspiration from many different places, and they bring it all in the same place. Miro is not a true document storage system though, so you run into barriers where you try to like search across everything. Like we're not trying to replace Google Drive and stuff like that. For the knowledge base piece, yes, even the company admin handbook, which if you want to check it out, is an interesting way, I think, of having many different types of information inside a board. It's a very visual way to do things. You can have extensive diagrams and text and videos and all different kinds of assets in one place. The other example that I have is in onboarding. So we've seen a lot of customers use Miro for onboarding of their employees just because it's kind of cool to create paths and things like that. And that's been an interesting use case. You said not Miro specific, but I gave you a bunch of Miro examples, so sorry. I hope I got your question.
Do you want to follow up on that, Kyle? No? Okay. So I had another question over under the coming soon. What I missed what LMS stood for.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a learning management system. It's if you ever go to some other types of like e-learning, you'll like click start course and you'll like actually have progress, things like that. The benefits to you guys is that you're going to be able to return back and take courses. It'll allow us to release content much quicker. We'll also be able to have much more robust content styles. Right now, what we have is basically just like a glorified video playlist. So eventually we're going to have, more long form text. There might be some kinds of quizzes. We can even embed Miro into the course. So if we wanted you to take an action after learning it, you can take it right there. Especially interesting when you think about setting up for the enterprise plan. There's possibilities that we might be able to embed it in app. But this is all like, we're looking to see what's possible, but we're very excited to take the next step and improve the kind of content we can offer.
What software are you using for that?
We haven't gone with anybody yet, so I'm hesitant to say in something that, it's hesitant to say in this format.
That's cool.
But if you ping me directly, we can talk about it.
Weird version of slide into the DMs for that.
Yeah.
I also had another question, actually. Are there any current users of this? I mean, how did you come up with these first three to start with?
The first three pieces of content, that's a really cool question. So getting started with Miro is just, well, the background of why customer education, it's really the scale engine for customer success. That's one of the main reasons why SaaS companies are starting to move in this direction. It's kind of even newer than customer success is, which is weird to think about because CS is so new. But the getting started with Miro course was just that baseline thing that people were like, how do I learn about Miro? How do I teach my colleagues how to use Miro without scheduling a training with a CSM? So it's really just covering that baseline. That's where you're going to want to start if you want to have facilitation in Miro. Agile development, it's a core use case that I understand really well. So I selfishly did that one first. UX design is a core use case that I have to learn more about. So that's why I did it second. And the company admin handbook is simply the fact that we want to make onboarding easier for our enterprise admins.
Awesome. So I'll give a few moments pause for anyone else who has any questions. You can feel free to unmute your mic and chime right in.
I was wondering about, you mentioned that some of the training materials or some of the extra stuff and tips that you might have might be actually like embedded in the product, all of the onboarding kind of, phase, like when you first jump in, but for more advanced skills. Is that the case? Or is it really just, go take the course somewhere else and come back to the app when, like you figured that out?
The vision, if we're able to accomplish everything, is for it to be available from within the application. But we will always be using other styles of learning and for like that first few sessions, like tooltips and things like that, which are pretty standard. Right now, if you look at the guide, there's the Learn and Inspire section, which you might have missed. We're looking to make a lot of cool improvements to this section, including, maybe including some of the Academy content and introducing other styles of content as well. So it's an ongoing project to make this as powerful and as useful for our customers as possible.
Any other questions?
Let's wrap it up. I want to get to Greg's thing. If you guys have more questions, you can put them in the stickies below the slides. I think we want enough time for Greg.
Yeah, that sounds good. So
thank you
with
so much,
that,
guys.
I want to add a quick note for Greg's presentation. It's a little bit different. You'll see that there is a square in the top left of this chalkboard image. That is where we can follow up and see what he's going through. Of course, he will have his screen shared, so you'll get to see it here on Zoom. And if you have any questions, you can follow up with, of course, those sticky notes right there on the chalkboard. So, Greg, take it away.
Yeah, wonderful. You're right. And a good way to kind of describe me as someone that does things differently. So I've been loving Miro board for about the last year and using it a lot in my job, and we'll kind of get into all of that. But today, let's just kind of hop into this. If you read some of the objectives, you'll learn kind of what we're going to be talking about. So first, we see we got this little giraffe here. He wants us to go this way. Let's follow this giraffe. And here's just like a quick little second about your presenter here. Here's a little like visual mood board for you to get a feel of who you're talking to today, all right? So I'll just kind of let that absorb in. And I just kind of want to cop into a couple things. Here's a couple of facts about me. I'm the Director of Creative Learning at Elm Learning, and we work with Fortune 100s and 500s in implementing learning strategies and design to their L&D department. So we've just recently redid Twitter's onboarding. We've helped Facebook with their diversity and inclusion initiatives. And as you can imagine, when we consult and we're talking about a lot of these ideas, whiteboarding is very important. So when I came across Miro board, I just fell in love. I'm also the founder and artist at a company called Kind Weird Wild. If you're on Instagram, give me a follow. I'll get into some weird stuff there. I got some fun facts and a weird fact about me, but you know what? I think let's just kind of hop right into this. If you want to, you can click on those two mystery boxes to find the 2 fun facts and one weird fact about me if you'd like. But besides the objectives, here's my goal today. My goal is to inspire you and open your imaginations to the possibilities of what you can do. There are so many tools out there and so many ways we could do it, but it's how we think about using these tools. And this is going to be less of a tutorial and more of just showing you what I've done in the hopes that you will be inspired to go in the tool and play around, because pioneers become the experts. And that's just always the way it is. We're hopping into this new tool. There's a lot of things changing in business, and going in there, figuring it out, breaking it, learning how to do it, you're going to become the expert tomorrow. So that's kind of always been my style. I've been a graphic designer since I was very young, pirating Photoshop on Napster back in the day and playing with it. So that's kind of a little bit where I came from. So let's talk about what gamification is. Now, if you type in gamification on Google, you're going to get a lot of different definitions. And here's a definition that I created in this world of learning and development. Gamification is the art of applying gamified elements, right? Such as sound, timers, storytelling, challenges. He's like, hey, you can't get past me. Maybe motion, color, and pictures, right? Applying gamified elements to trigger an intentional emotional response in our user. And why is this so important, right? So this is kind of just a high level. We could add gamification to everything. As you can see, I'm adding gamification to this talk. You know, I add gamification to my to-do list, just some feedback sounds when I get things done. So again, adding certain elements to trigger an intentional emotional response. All right, so let's hop into my favorite segment of today's talk. And we're gonna do, let's talk about science with Cynthia, the icon finder scientist. And if you guys don't know where your icon finder is, it's this little symbol here. You type in some stuff here, boom, bang, bing. You're gonna get some, I can't spell for the life of me. Miro board, quick shout out. You guys are doing really good with the diversity and stuff. Usually when you type in scientist, you only get men, you know, so you got a nice little mix of visual graphics. I was very happy to see that. I'm just going to do a quick overview of the science of emotion and design and what we're kind of looking at when we're talking about gamification. So one, when you guys give me this board, and to your question before, Kyle, I believe, about knowledge-based piece examples, this is kind of stuff that I like to do, is I always like to link some of the resources, or if people want to dive deeper into what I'm getting into, I'll link it to the board itself. So you'll all have access to this board. There's a company, 6 Seconds. They do a lot of emotional intelligence, and they separate the difference between emotions, feelings, and moods, right? Essentially, emotions is our body's reaction to stimuli. Something happens, and our body reacts, right? Feelings is our brain's logical mind of like interpreting what's happening, right? Our palms get sweaty, our heart starts racing. Oh, am I scared right now? Why am I scared? Now, with all of those gamified elements that we talked about before, we can create artificial emotions that lead to these feelings, right? And that help the user interact with whatever we're doing, whether it's teaching a class or whether it's facilitating a lesson. Next thing, really quick overview. You could hop in here to kind of go down the rabbit hole, but here's just kind of a science behind our emotions, especially how they go into learning. So we have certain emotions that make us, you know, perk up in attention, right? So if we're something that, you know, our mayor's making us angry, what do? We take to the streets, right? Our emotions lead us to our actions, right? So you could see why this could be so important for any type of user experience design, or in my world, especially learning experience design, because I want to elicit emotions before I teach my lessons. This one, best TED Talk that I've seen on functional storytelling. Again, you really just want to understand emotions and how they play into users before you start experimenting with it. And then finally, before I get into like how we facilitate some sessions, a little bit more science with Cynthia. You know, our brains, we're visually wired. Almost 50% of your brain is involved in visual processing. That means when you read text on screen, your brain is seeing the text as an image and then interpreting that text into what that picture may look like. But when we show them an image, they're going to interpret that at almost lightning speed. Now, why is that so great with a tool like Miro Board? Because we got things like the icon finder. We got Google Images. No, don't do it. Don't do this to me. All right, we got Google Images. We got all sorts of things that we could rapidly visually communicate what we're talking about, right? Because, and this is another thing from Richard Mayer, think of your visual sensories as a highway. One of them goes for your ears, one of them goes through your eyes, right? So what you want to do really essentially with you know, able-bodied people is, can you visually represent something while you're talking about it to create a flow and increase retention and understanding of what's going on screen, okay? Now, I know that was so quick, and again, I'm just here to hopefully inspire you guys to dig a little bit deeper into this stuff. But before we get into applying emotion design to whatever we're doing, it's important to understand how emotions work. Let me pause. I'm going to pause right here. I know we got a question box in the corner, but I'd love to just, let's see what time I'm looking at, 5:35. ahead of the game. I'd love to give like 3 or 4 minutes on it if there are any kind of questions here around the emotions of experience design. And just shout them out. There's no need to type them in. Sounds like you guys are either with me or completely lost. So
I got one actually. Is there, so you have a couple different kind of emotional cores here. Do you find that there's a sequence of emotional journey that creates deeper impact if you land on this emotion by proceeding with this emotion?
Oh my God, what a great question. You, my friend, are a brilliant man. So yes, now let's think about video games for a second. When we play video games, it follows this same kind of formula, right? When you we have this thing, what's called positive engaging and disengaging emotions, right? So when we're engaged, we pay attention. When we're disengaged, we kind of relax and we sit back. So now let's say we're playing a video game and all of a sudden, you know, we just start and the music's playing, it feels good. We're playing through the game, like we're seeing these cool graphics. We're like, all right, cool. I'm engaged in what's going on, right? And now all of a sudden we get to our first boss, right? And our boss, this guy's disgusting. The sounds, dun, dun, dun. Red colors are playing on screen, right? All of a sudden we're like, okay, here it goes. Now frustration, right? You're playing a boss and it's super hard and you're like, oh, this is so much, but I have to beat it. I have to beat it. Now, if the user is frustrated for too long, what do? They're like, I'm out. I quit. I'm done. Forget this. But now, right after frustration, if they beat the boss, what happens usually? We give them a sense of relief, relaxation. We bring them back, right? We like, if it's Legend of Zelda, you just got your tokens, you know, the music's playing, everything's feeling really good. So if you want to kind of get more into this, but it is this dance of engaging and disengaging emotions that map to the emotions of your core. So a quick case study we did for a project I work on for a company called Women's Deliver. And they create advocacy training for women coming right out of college of how to write policies, how to raise money, a lot of technical information. So we kind of engage them with anger and disgust of what's going on in the world in other countries, right? So we kind of got that engaging emotion that they want to pay attention to what happens next. Then we kind of give them all the content to teach it. And then, you know, okay, if I'm in my negative engaging emotion too long, it's like, I don't even want to be alive. But then it's like, all right, guys, don't worry. There's hope, you know, and here's why, here's what we've done. So it's this constant back and forth. So what I say, is there one method? No, but it is this kind of ebb and flow and push and pull of positive and negative disengaging emotions. Cool. I'm from New York and I talk very fast. So just if I'm talking too fast, let me know. Cool. All right, sweet. Any kind of more questions here on the sciencey stuff? All right. No, looks good. All right. Thank you, Cynthia, very much. You've been great. Okay, so let's kind of hop into Miro in action. So I got 3 examples here that I'd love to show you, and I'll share these with you guys afterwards. So let me kind of just quickly hop into this master frameworks template. So this is a template I made for my internal team. All right, a schema. How many guys are familiar with the word schema? All right, I just learned schema when I started really diving into whiteboards, and it's just a term psychologists use of mapping out your thinking, right? So when you're working with your team, when you have multiple stakeholders and they need to kind of see your vision, this is a great way you could kind of map out your thought process. So these are kind of 2 things that my company and myself created internally. Before we develop a learning experience, first we need to develop some performance outcomes, some learning objectives, and then that goes into what learning activities we're going to get into, right? Now, most of you guys that don't have a learning background, you're probably like, what the heck is this, right? Now, a lot of companies, they might just give you this tool. So that's great. We made the template, but like to Matt's point earlier, okay, cool, I got a template. How do I use this thing, right? So I have an internal team of junior designers, graphic designers. My background wasn't in learning. My background was actually in entertainment and storytelling. I don't know if you could tell. But then I mentored under an educator and I became an edutainer. edutainer, an entertaining educator. So I needed to figure out a way to develop my internal team of graphic designers, right? They are visual people, not technical people. They're like early 20s, 25, Pokemon generation type of people. And I need to figure out a way to teach them, right? That's my audience. I did my audience analysis, so I know the story. I know the visuals that they're going to respond to. So I created this kind of game to teach that template before, right? So if you imagine a scenario just like this, right? Where it's a Zoom meeting, I'm controlling, but I'm talking to the other person about what they're gonna do. All right, so, right, ready? Are you guys ready? I could see your faces, let me get a head nod. Oh yeah. So then we kind of go down right here and I'll be like, all right, guys, let's choose your character. All right, somebody yell out a character. First one to yell it.
Puffy white face man.
Puffy white face man, great choice. All right, so now we got our puffy white face man. And now our first guy here, oh man. Any Zelda fans out there, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this tool to help shield you from poor learning objectives. So I use the comment box here to pretty much just link this great resource of that Arizona State University built on how to write measurable learning objectives. All right, cool. So they just got this cool new tool. So I'll take this shield because I just, I like to have fun. And what I would do while I'm facilitating is I group it to this guy. All right, so now this guy is shielded from poor learning objectives. Right on, dude. All right, so now for our first challenge, right? So just like in a video game, it's easy. We're going to give you tools, the hero's journey. We're going to define our outcome here. Give me 1 second. My cat's meowing. She needs to come inside real quick. She works nights. She's a tough working cat. So level 1, we're going to define the outcome. We got this little frog here. He's like, good luck. This is just those, what I call appeal. These are those little extra things that you do not need to throw. Your practical mind says, why do I need to do this? Don't listen to your practical mind. Listen to the science and listen to your heart. Your practical mind is just going to make unseasoned chicken all day long. All right, so good luck here. And now our first scenario. So I pretty much would read this out loud. Hi, I'm Kaplana. I'm the sales manager at Acme Co. I run our onboarding program, and I want to create e-learning to support it. I want them to have a solid understanding of our video solutions map. When can we start, right? And then all of a sudden, choose your fate. All right, so I would have one of our learners on the other end choose their fate. So I'm just going to kind of go there and show you both answers. Hopefully they say ask more questions. Good choice. Challenge number 1, save the team and create clearer course goals before it's too late, right? Now, if they use this one, oh no, your choice with the world on fire, what has died. It got dark there, but that happens sometimes. Our choices, they have consequence. So we got our little dude and we kind of keep moving along here, and then, oh no, what is this over here? What is this? Grass plant tree 512.png? Is that what I think it is? You just got yourself a taco, right? So now, if we're thinking about what we went to before, easy challenge, not too frustrating, but now also they got through it. Let's give them a little feedback. My team, we're from SoCal. We love tacos. Everyone here loves taco. It's going to release some of that dopamine. So, I know my audience and how we're kind of putting it, but now this guy, he's got a shield. He's got a taco. I think he's ready for level number 2, creating learning objectives. And just look at these supporting frogs. You can't have too many supporting frogs. So, all right. So now we're going to get into something a little bit harder. We're going to help Kaplana develop learning objectives that need to take place in order to hit our course goal, right? So now our team just unlocked the cognition map. I would slack them over at the end of this, I'm going to slack them over this Miro board, but they kind of unlocked this new tool that could help them not only come up with the goals, but now when they're on the phone with their clients, right, they're going to be like, okay, based on what I understand, here's my outcome. And here are some of the objectives. So in learning experience design, right, just like a lot of things, we want to create our course outcome, right? By the end of this course, we're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. So I just wrote one here. Oh, wait, this sounds familiar. To inspire you and open your imagination to the possibilities. This is our course outcome of kind of what we're doing today. Now, for our team, they would be there and they would be writing these goals themselves. They would be using this learning objectives tool, and I would be there to help guide them along the way. But really, what I want them to do is I want them to struggle. I want them to be frustrated. I want them to get the wrong answer. So when I do kind of nudge them in the right direction, their brain goes, ah, right? That sound is an epiphany. And epiphanies, right? That sound is when your brain goes from short-term memory to long-term memory. You just figured something out, right? So I love to use comments as a way of just clicking through and just, teaching on the device itself. So now we got ourselves our course goal, but now we need a kind of a pathway. So our learning outcomes, right, are what are the different learning objectives that are going to get us to hit our overarching goal. So again, for what we did today, some of these learning objectives, the ability to recall how important emotions are when creating an experience, right? All you gotta do is just remember that it's important. The ability to define what gamification is as it relates to facilitation. I'm gonna quiz you on this afterwards, so I hope you're taking notes. I'm just kidding. The ability to explain emotions' vital role when engaging an audience. And then finally, what everybody's really here to do is the ability to construct a Miro board facilitation exercise that will leave your audience laughing, crying, and wanting more. Okay, so I kind of decided this, but if this was kind of a real exercise with one of our employees, they would have written all of these, and I would kind of push them, reinforce, and redirect some of their behaviors, right? So I'm taking all of these guys with me, right? Boom, boom, boom. All right, and that's just because this guy, everything he has, this is just kind of a fun way for my guy. All right, now he's going to take our learning objectives to the next part of the map, and holy smokes, is that what I think that is? Is that a grass plant tree 512.png? Again, what do we got in this box? Oh man, we got some cool kid shades. Look at this fly guy here today. This guy, he's just killing the game. He is just killing the game. All right, so our guy here, he's walking around, he's doing his thing. Now let me ask you guys a question, because life, it's all about choices, right? Do we want to move forward to level 3, to design activities, or do we want to see what maybe is in this pipe? Somebody, do we want to go forward or see the pipe?
I think we're going down that pipe.
We all know we are going down that pipe. Come on, yeah, he's going slow. He's a little stuck with all those Post-its. Oh, man, and we just entered another dimension. All right, here. And now let me tell you some of the thought process behind this. Our brains, even under the most amount, when we kind of get someone's attention and they have our full attention, that lasts at max about 20 minutes. All right, before their brain just starts drifting off. So even under full attention, their brains are going to start drifting in about 20 minutes, right? So if we know people's brains are going to start drifting and looking for distractions, I'm going to distract them. I'm going to choose a place to distract them and kind of bring their attention in, because they're going to be like, wait, what is happening? We're going to be losing them right before this. And then right here, they're going to be like, oh, man. Oh, whoops. Hold on a second. That's too soon. He was supposed to covering that. All right. So, so now this guy's all like, hello, great warrior. Thank you for coming. I'm so hungry. Do you got any extra food? And I'd ask them, do you got any extra food? Do we want to give them our taco, or do we not want to give them our taco, right? So if we decide not to give them our taco, let me just tell you what happens to all the bad little boys and girls out there that don't share their food with people. What happens to them? Hold on. Shoom, oh, they turn into a toilet, and now they have to, live the rest of their life as a toilet, similar to Beauty and the Beast. We don't want to end up like the Beast. We give the old ladies food if they come knocking, all right, if Disney's taught us anything. So we're going to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to give you my taco. Man, and he's like, oh, cool, man. I'm going to give you something even better. I'm going to give you spiritual enlightenment. Oh, man, look at that. You got all the knowledge of the universe now. This guy is just killing it. So we're going to kind of group all of these things together. And, we're boom, bam. All right. Now we're on level 3, the hardest level of the day. And that's why we have 3 frogs here to motivate you, because it's going to be difficult. He's all like, man, you looking so cool. This guy's like, you know what, you look great. This guy's like, did you miss the pipe? Don't miss the pipe, all right? But it's good friends to have, that frog. All right, so, finally, now the team gets into, some more stuff. So now we have our overall course objective, right? So this is what we want to hit. And also we have our learning, of outcomes, right? So we have our overall course objectives on our learning outcomes. Now, if you guys are looking at Remember, Understand, this is a methodology called Bloom's taxonomy, and it's just a way of mapping learning objectives to learning activities, right? So now we know, my team's here. If the end learning goal is for you to just remember, understand, that's like your basic content consumption. That's like today's course. At most, you're going to get to remember, understand, right? Because to actually learn how to apply, you got to get in there and start playing with the tool. But got some ideas here. So now what I would do with my team is I would go, okay, well, we want them to remember how to recall how important emotions are. What would we do, right? We could do a live video like we're doing. We could do a webinar. We could do an animated video. We could do repetition exercises. Someone deleted this, but not one client's let me write a song or a jingle, but one of these days someone's going to let me write a song or a jingle. Tell people, remember, like, adding gamification to your Miro board. Obviously we'll hire professional musicians, but we could still direct it. So this will just kind of help us decide what activities we want to do. And then, so now this kind of creates our whole learning experience. So for this, the ability to recall how important emotions are. Well, we did kind of a live video. That's me, exciting storytelling. The ability to explain emotions, vital role. That was kind of, again, this live video facilitation exercise where I'm kind of walking you through this. Now, the ability to construct a Miro board facilitation exercise, for you guys to hit this goal, you're going to need some real life practice. You're going to either need maybe some walkthrough tutorials, and that's kind of what Matt's going to be developing a little bit. But like for you guys, if you want to get to this level, you got to hop in there and maybe do some real life practice, talk about it. Like today, what we're doing here, thanks to Matt and Miro, we're doing some social discussions. We're doing real life practice all together. You see, that's how it all kind of comes together, right? So now, my team over here, they're feeling good. They got cool glasses. They got a shield. So now we're on our last couple minutes here. And like all games, right, it was frustrating. The harder it gets, the more relief we need to give them. And now at the very end here, who do we have here? Cluck, cluck, you made it. Now go claim, that's the king chicken. Now go claim what's rightfully yours. And now, bam. Oh, what do we got here? We got a winner's circle. Oh, look at that. Who put that crown there? That crown's gonna, oh yeah, that looks real nice on this guy. Now, for me, what I would do, one thing, you can upload all sorts of links. Let's see if this works right now, because I took some music from SoundCloud. Let's get a little funky here. And then I'll even dance with the screen. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Woo-hoo! Oh, man. All right. And then what I would do is I would, oh, look at that. Who's that? We got a penguin up there. He's rocking out. We got Elvis. He's got a bird on his head. It's just, we're having a good time here, right? So what I would do too is then I would screenshot this and I would post it in Slack, and I'd be like, Kyle just completed the media mapping challenge, and, make a little thing. And then afterwards I'd make sure to message, I'd Slack them over this template. But this was kind of a fun way, fit for my audience, for people to like, because here's the deal. When we were talking about an angel's cocktail before in storytelling, right? When I was kind of getting into, our different emotions that release these chemicals in our brain that make us feel good. Dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins. Oh boy, do we love those. cortisol, fear, anxiety. Do those kill us, right? So now with a new student, someone learning something new that they've never, it's very easy to intimidate, right? Someone right off the bat. So that's why, instead of just kind of going into this and be like, first put this, what I'm doing here is I'm creating and I'm eliciting emotions, right? Because learning at the end of the day, don't forget, is play, right? We all left, when we all became adults, we left Neverland, and we all forgot that learning is play. That's why adults have such a hard time learning, right? So what we try to do is create these experiences, especially for newcomers, right? Because that's where most people quit. When they first try a new app, when you first hop into Miro board and you're like, I don't know how to do this thing, and my kids are so good at it or whatever, people usually quit, right? So when someone's new, this is kind of what we want to do. And then my final point that I want to leave you with is, you don't always use, this is like a high-end design that I use for my internal team. I like to look at these facilitation techniques like cooking dinner, right? Every day, sometimes if we're doing something every day, at the end of the night, throw it in the microwave, bing, bang, boom, we eat. Doesn't need to be too fancy, we get the job done. But some days when Thanksgiving's coming up, or, there's a really big meeting or something's happened, that's when I like to put a little extra zhush and a little extra emotion design into my facilitation. This is just something I'm not even going to walk through, but this is just something I did with a client. It's called an action mapping exercise. So this is external. And it essentially just kind of walks the clients through, the different goals that they're hitting. Some engagement tips. Oh boy, do people really like to know what behind that present is. And just like when we were talking about, here's some engagement tips. I like to be like, all right, share your thoughts openly. All questions are good questions. Be comfortable with fluidity. And finally, the reason this is a cheese, because it's a little cheesy, I do write my own jokes. And have fun, have a good time, just have, you know what I mean? So this is how I set up this facilitation exercise for a mattress company. They're looking to be the Nike of sleep, and they're looking to create public-facing education. So I pretty much interviewed every one of their departments, and I found out kind of what motivates them to learn. What is the environment that they learn in? This is all the information that I'm collecting from different teams so that I could recommend the solution. But now finally, this was like a 2-hour meeting with like 12 people. All right, it was long. It's all remote. And that's why too, like I've been using whiteboards to solve problems since, I learned about whiteboards. If I'm in there in person, you can see it's easy for me to engage an audience. Just like, look how much my hands move, right? Now, over remote exercises, it could be a little different, and that's why we want to add some of these emotional effects to kind of remote facilitation. So at the very end of this, and this is something I do on almost all my boards, I think it's awesome, is I like to hide, sometimes I like to put some treasure chests around, non-tangible rewards. So we had about 10 people in this exercise. So I asked everybody on the line to choose one, and that's what I'm going to do for you guys today. So I'm going to go down this list. Brittany, come on, pick a number 1 out of 10 here.
8.
8. What do we got here at 8? 8. Oh, you get a group smile, everybody. Group smile at Brittany. Brittany, you did such a good job. All right, I got Matt. You're next here. Which one are you going to pick?
Number 2.
Number 2. Great choice, number 2. Oh, you get one great dream, buddy. One great dream.
Oh my gosh.
Never expires. You just wish upon a star, and you're going to get a great dream there, pal. All right, so let's see. Who's next? I got one of the Kyles. We got 2 Kyles here. I got Kyle, let me see, Kyle Chipman.
I'll take 5.
5, great choice. Kyle, 4 years, great luck. Oh, man, we're going to Vegas, Kyle. We're going to Vegas. All right, who's next here? I got Tony Mandrano. All right, it's okay, Tony. He's the quiet type. I like it. Let's see who's next under here. Hold on, I'm having a hard time seeing the names here. I got glasses and headphones, so I can't see your name, but I can see your face. Yeah, that's you.
Christoph.
Christoph is me. I see a couple glasses. I want number 7.
Number 7, what do we got here? You own the entire state of Kansas. I just got Kansas. Pennies on the dollar. Super cheap. They're pretty much giving that state away. I don't know what's going on over there with their budgets.
That's going on a
All
lot.
right. Here, how do I see? I had a hard time seeing names, but I see the next. I see blonde hair and a lamp behind your right shoulder.
Kathy.
Kathy. All right. Yeah. If you just read out names, that'll help. Be helpful.
4 taken?
4 is not
4.
taken. What do we have for 4? Oh, we have a tulip magician.
Nice.
Really good. You could always pull out a tulip magician. All right. Who's next? Somebody call. I see dope CFO. All right. They're probably just listening on.
Oh, that's me. I was going to pick 4, but and 8's taken. I'll take 1.
Number 1. What do we got? You got one great hair day. Use it wisely. It's coming up. We got the holidays coming up. You're going to see family. Maybe that's a good time to use it. Is there anybody else that didn't get a chance to get a treasure?
We got Annie on the line. Annie F. Ann F.
Yep, I'll take number 10.
10. Annie, in my opinion, you got the best one. This is a playlist I made on Spotify of all of the Looney Tunes, Merry Melodies, all the classic Looney Tunes songs. I'll make sure to send this to Matt so he could send this to you. I listen to this all the time. I recommend track number 3, Figaro. It's a great song. Anybody else here?
Kyle Carline.
Kyle.
Yeah, go ahead and do number 3.
Number 3 for Kyle. An imaginary serenading frog who will be your best friend forever and ever. Look at this guy. Look at him. He's a great. Look at the trick he does. Whoa, that's pretty cool. He's pretty cool. All right, we got 2 more chests here. Is there anybody else? Or I want to make sure everybody gets our non-tangible reward.
I think we're good except for Tony, but he's quiet. So I guess
Tony's getting number 6. He's getting an actual pencil. Somebody find his address, mail him a pencil. I'm sure he could use one for drawings. And I'm going to give myself number 1. Oh, the wisdom of the universe. That's pretty cool. We're at 5:02. We're 2 minutes over. But the reason I even did this, all right, so this is, again, to come back. After a 2-hour session, like, I want to get some nice kind of, I want to release what I like to call my favorite emotion, endorphins, right? Endorphins come when people laugh, when they feel comfortable. It makes you more relaxed, creative, and focused. Endorphins are a great tool to use when you got a lot of people on the line. So there is a method to the madness. And it's about kind of, just, again, understanding how emotions play into it, and then what are the best ways to elicit the emotions. Let me stop sharing. Guys, thank you very much for letting me just yell and show you things that I've been very passionate about for the last year or so. It's a couple minutes after. I'm just going to pass it over to the Miro team because I literally will keep talking unless I
Thank you so much, Greg. Honestly, you are one of a kind. That was fantastic. Probably one of the best online presentations I've ever seen. Very, very engaging.
Stop it.
You deserve a non-tangible reward for sure. At least the wisdom of the universe. So I've got a few closing remarks, but I'm going to keep that question there in the board since we're over time. And maybe, Greg, if you want to type in your answer, that would be really, really good. It's on the chalkboard part. But if you guys go back over to the VMUG 03 board, you're going to see the survey down on the very bottom. I really encourage everyone to drag a dot where they feel they have benefited, knowledge gained or knowledge applied, how you thought things went. Unfortunately, we didn't have any, revealing magician or a guitar twirling frog here, but I think pressure's on for our next one. We have all learned some really cool tricks to apply in Miro here. So let us know what you thought, and you can also, of course, give more written feedback and any improvements or suggestions there. So that would really help us in the future for these events. So just a few things that I want to remark on that we have intended to do these events on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, but just note that we're not going to have one next month. But in the future events, which there will be many, we are taking, I'm from Miro. I'm not from Miro, but I just love Miro. I'm a Miro ambassador, right? So You can contact Brittany if you're interested in presenting, if you've got some nifty ideas to share. We would love to see it, right? I mean, this is just so cool. I love being a part of this, to see what other people are doing in Miro and how it's going to allow me to do my work even better. So you are all invited to share what you have. Likewise, Miro is going to start hosting in-person events. So these are virtual, right? In certain locales, they're going to start in-person meetings. So if you are interested in getting together with your peers, again, reach out to Brittany. Her email address is already in everybody's inbox. That's how you got here, so you know how to get to her. With that, we are done. So thank you all. Thank you to the presenters. Thank you to Miro. Honestly, pressure is on, Matt. You've got to gamify what you've got going on here.
We had a call. Greg and I had a prep call, and he showed me this ahead of time. And I come from a CSM background, so like learning experience design is like a whole new growth. And to get like a walkthrough from Greg really did expand my my understanding of the possibilities. So we'll have to see what's in the future for education at Miro, but I hope it can stand up, Greg.
It can, and I'm here. I love having this conversation. Thanks, guys, for making me blush.
Yeah, so thank you all, and feel free. The board's still there, right? This
We're
isn't
leaving
going
it
anywhere.
open for a week. So editing rights for a week, and then we'll shut down the editing, but it'll still be view only. So like, make the connections. Greg is a great person to talk to. He'll talk.
Yeah, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I love sharing information, and especially if you are in the learning space, let me know. Find Greg Kozera on LinkedIn, or cool.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you at the next one.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for hosting, Kyle.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, Kyle.
Bye.